Hello, everybody, and welcome to Google Plus Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Stepan Hovnanian, and today I'm joined by a co-host, my good friend Ben Fisher of Steady Demand. Ben, say hi down there.
Hello, everybody. How's it doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Google Plus.
So psyched to have you here, Ben, with me. We're gonna try and ramp up the comments and get this show a little bit more interactive for everyone. So each week, in case this is the first time you're joining us, we bring in a business who is using Google Plus, and we just give them an opportunity to tell everybody how they're using it, bring up some interesting and creative ways that they're taking advantage of the platform, and hopefully give you guys some tips you can use yourself. So today, and before we hop in, just want to remind everybody that this show is sort of produced in part with the Google Plus for Small Business community. So go check that out. And if you guys are inclined to share, please use the hashtag #GPLUSSPOTLIGHT. So that would be really cool if you guys could help get the word out. Now I think at this point, intros are over. Yep, let's get cracking. I want to introduce some really, really great people today. We have John Ellis and Alex Ricky Gonzalez from SEOWise. And I'm just going to turn it over to you two and let you guys just tell us about your business.
Alrighty then. Well, hello, Stepan and Ben. Thank you so much for having us. Alex, say hi.
What up? Hey.
What's up, Alex? What's up, John?
This is really cool, actually. We've known Ben and Stepan for months, and it's really cool to see this show go where it's gone and to be asked to be on it, because we don't really get to ask to be on any shows. We don't do that. I don't know why.
What is that? Come on.
We'd love to do shows, but apparently we're disruptive or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about what we do. I'm going to give you the fastest explanation of who we are and what we do. I am a nerd web developer who decided many years ago to create a company called Portland Internet Design. We started building WordPress websites with SEO. I realized a whole bunch of people really didn't understand what that meant, and I was tired of seeing business owners get screwed by other web developers. So we created SEOWise. And SEOWise was a company designed to teach people how to use the modern web. And it was kind of a safe place. We wanted to create a place where it was an open community. Nothing was being put behind doors. There are no black boxes, no tips, no tricks, no hidden things. It's all just there, right? And we use the content that comes out of Google Plus, because people like Ben and Stepan and all the other names that I mentioned, and I'm not going to say his name, Alex.
You're not going to do it? Come on. Well, I don't have a beer handy, so.
We have a drinking game with somebody that I mention his name all the time. You can probably figure it out. We're not going to go there right now. I'm going to do my best not to say his name this whole show. Anyway. So we created SEOWise, and at the time we created SEOWise, which is about a year ago, we started to recognize what was going on with Hangouts and everything happening in here and what we're doing right now. SEOWise got going, and we're happy with it, and I said this isn't enough, because the next stage is Hangouts on Air, and produced Hangouts on Air. So I got together another team of people. We're called Hang3 Productions. It's company number 3, but we're doing produced Hangouts, and you're going to start to see a lot of that happening. Matter of fact, our show today, this afternoon, will be done in Wirecast if we can get our stuff together. So what we do is we spend a lot of our time taking the most wonderful information that you guys produce in Google+, and we share it as SEOWise, and we help anyone who wants to join us in our community on the web learn how to use Google+ and grow themselves and their businesses on the web. There you go.
That's awesome. Alex, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, that was pretty thorough. Good job, John. That was like, what, under 5 minutes? If any of you out there had difficulty following that, try working for the man. Like, it's literally like every day it's like, we're going to do this. I'm like, okay, wonder how that's going to happen.
So part of the SEOWise drinking game would be whatever he or she who shall not be named, plus if John Ellis goes over 5 minutes on any kind of rant.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Added to
there you go.
Take a shot.
Awesome. So you guys bring up an interesting point, right? You're a team. You are managing a single page plus obviously your own profile. So give me some insights. I mean, clearly there's some great camaraderie here, but I mean, how do you guys do it? This is a kind of an important thing for maybe for larger businesses, not so much personal brands, but either balancing the page versus profile thing as well as the collaboration part of things, I think is really important for businesses on Google Plus. So again, back to you guys. Tell me, why don't we let Alex take this one, John? Let's let Alex kind of chime in
Alex,
here.
why don't you explain how you do 95% of the work? Because you do. All right.
How do I do it? It is a tough balance between a personal brand and speaking for an actual brand. I guess I do most of the talking as SEO-wise, and the thing that I've realized as someone that speaks for a brand is that you have to have a certain part of you in that brand, but it can't be all of you. So I love what SEO-wise represents as far as transparency and taking all of these different resources from different places on Google Plus and putting them in one place for everybody else to use with a little bit of flavor to it. John has really given me the opportunity to kind of take SEO-wise where I want to, and it's become kind of my baby. So I can be a little bit protective of it. Sometimes I'll see John post stuff as SEO-wise, and I have to check it. I'm like, did he say it right? Did he say it right? And he's getting it. He's getting it. But the thing about working as a team, I think, is that you really have to be in sync about what you both believe the brand represents, and then go from there. And it's okay to kind of, in the beginning when we started as SEO-wise, we really tried to say, this is Alex, this is John. But we've kind of worked away from that, hoping that people can kind of realize when it is either of us talking.
So do you guys do you talk about like things like comments, post formatting? I mean, do you guys have some type of setup for rules, or just a guideline that you guys have for yourselves so that it can be SEO-wise posting all the time, posting and commenting more of a singular brand voice as opposed to the two of you?
In truth, what we do is we have, I guess I'd call them planning sessions. So we're both constantly looking at content that comes through our streams, and we have to. The weekly shows, we spend more time now blocking out segments in the shows, finding the content we're going to use, grabbing the images, and so we're both kind of on top of what's going on in the stream, and we work with each other each day constantly to say, should we talk about this? Should we blast this out through Wise? Maybe you should push that out through Wise, but then reshare it as yourself and make a comment that's a little more raunchy. And it's seriously, it's tactics like that. I mean, I'll be honest. If I post one thing as Wise a week, it'll be in the community, and only because I accidentally opened it as Wise. I generally don't post as the brand. I discuss what will be posted, and then Alex and I agree on how we're going to carry that content forward, and then it's her ball, right? I actually think it's easier that way. If we can agree to what's being said and she remains the voice, then all I do is pick up and carry the message. And it's nicer to say, hey, this is John, and I'm going to be a little off the wall and wacky here because I don't need to be Alex the brand. So it adds flavor. And it means that I can leave bacons and cats and the things that I like to talk about on my personal profile, and have SEO-wise be more of the useful content, I suppose.
Well, and the great thing about the two of us is that we generally hang out in different circles. John is very, very involved in the Hangout area, and he understands all of the technical. I don't know. He's a nerd, and I just even though I do have Google Glass, I can't handle that kind of stuff. So I hang out more in the, I tend to attract a younger crowd, and I hang out with people that aren't as involved in that technological stuff. But when the two of us come together, John can explain these things to me, and then I can explain it as Wise. So that helps too.
Cool. Hey, we got a question from Marilyn Moore in our live event stream. Ben.
Hi, Marilyn.
There we go. Beautiful. Oh, I love having a co-host. This is epic. All right, Marilyn. Do you have to have certain part of you in the brand, but not all of you? Can you elaborate?
Marilyn,
I guess going back to
Marilyn
Alex.
actually has a second question that kind of also dovetails into that one. I want to highlight that as well.
Yeah, let's bring that up too, because they're both important. And then we're talking about being transparent about who is managing the page. So we'll toss that back to either of you two. both of those.
Alex,
both of those questions.
Go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah. You know, it is a fine line to walk, because there are certain parts of me that I can attribute to SEOWise. I have a sincere interest in authenticity and communication, which is why I'm getting my master's. And it just happens that SEOWise is all about being transparent, and this idea of authenticity kind of dovetails that. So that part of me I can use as SEOWise, but there's this other, you know, like I like Family Guy and I really love South Park, and I have to be really there. Sometimes I'll slip it in there, but I have to be a lot more careful about using that part of me as SEOWise. I can reveal that part of me daily as my personal brand, as myself, because it is a part of who I am, but it's not really what SEOWise represents. So you really have to look at who you are. You have to understand who you are, and then figure out what part of you fits in with the brand, and then just highlight it constantly when you are representing your brand. That's the best way. If you're representing a brand that you don't agree with, it's not going to work out. You're not going to feel that voice. You're not going to have that authenticity that the voice of a brand really needs. So that's kind of where I draw the line, and it takes practice. I mean, when I first started posting as SEOWise, I feel like I was very I didn't really let myself go. I was very narrow in what I posted. I was very focused, and as time goes on, you kind of realize that you can be a little bit freer. You get a little bit more interaction when you're like that. So if it takes you a while, don't worry about it.
Can I actually chime in, because I know exactly what you're talking about. A client of mine, Archways and Ceilings Made Easy, it's a similar setup. They're a very fun-loving group of guys, and I help them out with their Google Plus page. So I don't sign off or anything like that when I post. You know, when I'm doing the posting, that's just me, and I'm writing. But you do, like, I wouldn't be able to do that if I weren't. If I didn't have a background in construction. I mean, my whole family builds houses. So I understand the lingo, I understand a little bit more about the business, and I can kind of put myself in their shoes as far as who's going to respond to what when you're going to post. So just wanted to reinforce your point, Alex, because it's I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's funny, I've even gotten a little bit more loose too. The more I get to know the guys, actually, the more I realize that, okay, they're a fun group of guys, and yeah, when you post things that are a little bit looser and less, not less professional, but more informal, I guess, you do get a little bit more interaction, which is fun. I mean, that's what it's all about. People buy from people anyway, so, you know.
Yes, they do.
We got Ben, put this question up from Mary, because this is awesome.
Oh yeah, Mary does have an awesome question. I've already had it pinned.
Mary is awesome. Did you define a persona for your brand, and do you use that persona when you manage your page? Awesome question. Toss this one to John. John, go for it.
Can you say that to me again, because I couldn't see it on my screen? It's really tough.
Oh, sorry. Do you have?
There we go. It's back up.
Ben is now blue box again. All right. Did you define a persona for your brand? Like, is there a person? Alex does a lot of the posting, but is there a character that you guys created for the SEOWise page that you try and adhere to?
I'd like to address that, because I've read some stuff on this persona, and I've seen that word used a lot, and I want to be honest and just say that I don't like it. I don't like the concept of a persona. I think if you're trying to manage a brand as a group, I can understand having a flavor and a feel, but to invent something, I don't like that. I really feel like the brand should be an organic extension of the human beings that run it, not some made-up avatar that needs to have special qualities or be a particular way. And that may just be me, and it may just be because I'm not a fan of the corporate brand image, or of presenting some kind of a brand image in that way. But I think it's because of the change that we've seen into Hummingbird, and the fact that, you know, it's so much more about the person first and the brand second, that I guess my answer to that is no. we don't work with a persona. We have Alex and myself. That is the brand, right? And the parts and pieces that show up there, that's the organic blend of what you get. And so it's not a described persona.
Yeah, that's a pretty complete answer there. Thanks a lot, Don. You know, I mean, me personally, I think that having a brand persona is valuable to some companies and some larger teams, especially if you're working with like PR and marketing teams all together. So, but building a persona based on actual objective data, I think, is the important part versus just hypothetically saying, you know, this is who we want to look like. That would be my only extra comment to that.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the way you think you may not resonate so much with your customers. I mean, you want to be able to post things and talk in a certain way that's going to resonate with them. So that's really important, and the only way you know that is through data. So great point. We're pinning questions, by the way, for everybody who's asking in the some awesome questions in our event page. But I do want to talk a little bit about a really unique thing you guys are doing with your business and with the platform. So we'll come back to those questions, and you guys are totally awesome for doing that. But let's talk a little bit about this office hours thing that you guys are doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to just tell. So I'm going to start the preface. Alex, you're gonna fill in all the good details. So we have office hours. Office hours has been a constantly changing show. I think one of the things that we can all agree on with Hangouts on Air and with the way YouTube functions for us now with video is that it's very easy to take a format and change it. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It's not a lot of effort. I mean, how many changes have you made to this show since you started it, right? And it's very easy to change. The original idea for office hours was actually to help the people in the WISE program, but we realized that it could also be a PR tool, and it could also be opened up to the general public, and it could also be made a lot more fun if we just had people involved. And then we realized that it needed to be turned into some kind of branded, segmented show that we can chop up and redistribute once we had, you know, our crap together. So we do Wednesdays and Fridays now. We're trying to be as consistent as possible, and the only thing that stops the show is, you know, technical disasters or the fact that one of the two of us can't make it. What happens during the show is not as important as the content that's delivered or the message that comes out. But for anybody, I want to say this, for anybody thinking about doing this or worried about dropping into a show, you know, like Stefan did, you know, how worried were you when you started it, and 3 shows down the road, how were you like, it's really not as bad, not as horrible as I expected, right?
No, the hardest part's staying consistent, to be honest with you.
That's it. The consistency is the most important aspect of all of this, you know. So what we're doing with the shows, which is what I'm supposed to talk about, is we're gradually bringing the level of production up. And Alex, I want you to talk about the process we've created and how we're working in it, and just kind of how it goes.
Okay. For any of you that decide to do this, I will warn you, the process in the beginning is it's labor intensive. It takes a lot of time. It's better when there's multiple of you, but basically what we do is we've segmented it out into, what are we at, like 5 different segments now, and we basically, a couple days before we create the event, we talk to each other about what's going on in Plus, what have we seen that's going on, who do we want to shout out to, we figure out the content that we want to put in there, and then we map it out with Workflowy, which has been working for us really well. And then once I have that all mapped out, I create the event, which in the beginning is hard because you don't have that. Right now I can just copy paste, but in the beginning we didn't have that. So I create the event, and then I have to, for the next couple days, I really just have to continuously push that event out so that people know that it's there. And then the next couple days also involves collecting pictures so that we can use them. We started with my poor little HP laptop, putting those pictures up. It didn't work out great, but we're moving up to Wirecast, which I think John is pretty happy about. So yeah, and then the day of, like, all of that preparation is for an hour of show, and you hope that it all works. I will warn you 5 minutes before you go on, something is going to go wrong. Because that's usually how it goes. I mean, we have had the pictures won't come up, or John can't find his workflowy because he has so many freaking tabs open that he's like, I don't know the format of the show anymore. So just be prepared for the unexpected and just roll with it. That's what I've learned in this process. We've gotten it down to pretty. I mean, it takes us like an hour maybe to collect all of our stuff now, but yeah, so it's a process.
I was up till midnight last night trying to throw graphics together in Wirecast, and it's still not even that. But anyway, the show... Yeah.
Really quickly, I just want to ask for everybody that's out there, what's the URL for Workflowy?
Workflowy.com.
Can you, like...
One word? Like...
Work... F-L-O-W-E-Y, or...
F-L-O-W-Y.com. Workflowy.
Okay, cool.
It's a very simple outlining tool. Matt Mullenweg used it when he was cranking out WordPress in the early days, and it's fantastic for collaborative and easy outlines. And Alex and I pull that workflow up when we do the show, and that's how we go through and know what we're doing. Then she can take that outline and dump it right into the description, add the time markers to it, and you've got your TV guide ready to go.
Cool, thank you.
Right?
That's awesome. Yeah, we just dropped that in the comments for everybody who's watching. Cool. So I have a quick question about collaboration for you guys. How do you come up with the content and just the schedule of posts and the things you're going to be talking about throughout, whether it's on a daily or a weekly basis? Like, do you use a community, or just how do you do that part of the collaboration?
So Alex and I are both pretty much workaholics. Workaholics, schoolaholics, we are online all the time. So I'll just be honest. The reason we are able to collaborate as much as we do is because we are always checking in with each other online. Hey, are you there? Hey, I had an idea. And yeah, most of the time we use Google Plus and send each other a note real fast. We're gonna do this, or I do it in chat. What was the note I said the other day? Matter of fact, here's another one, Alex. We're gonna take the green room time before the show. That's going to be when we bring in WISE participants and VIPs. They'll get that green room experience before we go live. So it's stuff like that I would dump into a chat at her like 1 o'clock in the morning when I think of it, and then we'll talk about it the next day when she says, do you remember saying this at 1 a.m.? Right. And
that's cool. So you guys use chat primarily to shoot links to each other and to talk about things going on.
And then we dump them in the workflowy, in the template. We're like, hey, that should be in trending news. That's a shout out, right? Oh, that's the drinking game for the guy I can't say. That's and sometimes it's a new segment, right? I want to create a new segment called about YouTube. We're going to talk about that today, the reason Alex and I work together in all of this stuff, whether it's content creation, voice for the brand, is because I'm a little bit like, a low-grade Robin Williams. I'm an ideator, a creative crazy man, and I just spew out these ideas, and we bounce off of each other, and that's how we come up with the segments. But our goal is really to make this kind of like the Daily Show of Google+, in that I want comedy to be what drives people. I want the personalities and the interaction between us to be as much of a factor as the content that's being produced. Right? I'm going for that blend, and so yeah, the constant communication, and we hang out at least daily. We do at least one hangout to talk about things, and that includes Saturdays and Sundays, and yeah, so.
Cool.
I just got to say one thing. You just said a low-grade version of Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Really? Awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what you think.
Look,
really,
I think I'm better looking. I think I'm better looking. I think he's a much better comedian. We'll just go there. All right. So
hey, we got a few minutes left. So I'd like to. We got two questions that I thought were really great. Talking about tips and techniques, especially because of the page versus profile thing that is constantly coming up for a lot of business owners. So let's bring them up now. Ken Manis, I believe.
You always share public with your voice. Some personal likes.
Personal likes.
Interesting.
I think what he's trying to ask is, do you interject your own? Do you interject things like the Family Guy and the South Park into your into the public post, or do you save that for maybe your circles or an extended circles type post? Great question, Ken, because it's something that comes up a lot.
It's an awesome
I
question.
think Alex and I need to answer this differently, so I want Alex to answer how she handles it.
Yeah. I honestly, I never post privately as SEO-wise unless it's going to the community. That would be the only like private, but our community is public. So, but a lot of like, it's just the real line that you have to figure out is this relevant to my business? I think, I'll post something like I did an animated GIF with South Park, but I wrote a post that was relevant to the business with that picture. So it kind of, I mean, if it's gonna be a relevant topic, then yeah, show people that you watch South Park and that you enjoy Family Guy. But if it's just like this is a cute dog because I love my dogs, then that's going to be something that I do personally, and people will know that I love dogs. So if they see a dog maybe in an SEO-wise post, they're like, oh, okay, it's Alex. But I'm not going to just post a random picture of a dog as SEO-wise because it's not really relevant to the brand and the voice of the brand. I think that's the decision that I end up making.
I think it's a great way to balance it.
And that, never mind, Alex, you pretty much said what I say, because I do a lot of politics and religion on my personal brand. You know, I like talking and resharing that stuff. I don't reshare as wise, and I generally don't reshare that stuff in the community anyway. However, there was recently an article about net neutrality. That is relevant to all businesses. So I did share that, and it is political. So I added a little bit of flavor in there, but, you know, not as much as I would as John. So just put that way.
So we got another good one from Kirsten Hancock. There we go. How much do your posts cross over business to personal and vice versa? I think it would also add to that, the idea of posting as wise, sharing to profile, post as business, share to profile. How much of that do you guys do?
Alex?
Because
is there a
I
split
have
percentage?
This is just a personal. I have a serious guilt trip about being a narcissist. I feel weird sharing my own stuff. So it kind of if I write a new blog post as SEO-wise and I share it in Google Plus as SEO-wise, I'll always wait for John to pick it up before I pick it up myself. And then I'll kind of maybe I'll reshare his reshare of it. But that's just because I have this weird thing of I don't know, highlighting my own stuff. It feels weird. It feels weird to me. So in that case, it is really nice to have someone like John because he can find it and he can reshare it. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's not so bad because it's a reshare from someone else. As far as crossover, it kind of depends on the content of other stuff. Like if John can't say his name, but I can. If Mark Traphagen does a really nice, that's the he who must not be named. If he does a really nice post, I'll reshare it as myself with my personal take on it. And then when I reshare it as SEO-wise, I write a completely new post because a lot of people that follow SEO-wise also follow me because they either found me through SEO-wise or SEO-wise through me. So if you reshare the exact same thing, like copy paste, you might upset some people. But it depends on how much it characterizes your personal brand, I guess. There are certain things that I will share as both. A lot of the YouTube the YouTube stuff I'll share a lot as SEO-wise, not so much as myself because it's just not a personal interest of mine, but it is where our brand is going. But that's my big take on it.
Yeah, that's great. And just to kind of recap that, so you're taking advantage of the fact that you have two profiles that you can share to, SEO-wise and yourself, and you're taking advantage of the different ways that you can share on Google Plus, be it a regular post, be it a share, be it a photo, a link, plain text, whatever. And so you're mixing and matching so it doesn't look so much like copy paste. I think that's a very, very that's a fantastic technique and something that I hope everybody stuck around long enough to listen to, because it's a big takeaway for the day.
If I might, I know we're running a little bit over, but I want to kind of interject, because what you just said there is perfect. Not only mixing up the technique, but I think the really special thing about what SEOWise is doing is the fact that they're East Coast, West Coast. And so if we look at their stats, right, we can see both of the things that we just said, which is varying of techniques and varying of time zones as a team in posting. The graph shows all of that, perfectly, that there's great coverage during the day and great diversity in posts. Anyway, just wanted to mention that really quick.
It's no problem. And where do we get that graph?
SteadyDemand.com/tool. Anyway.
You guys, I want to throw out there real quick that the technique, the fact that Alex and I can work on the brand together. If you're a personal brand, if you're a single individual and you're trying to do all this on your own, partner with another brand. Find a wingman, and you guys can work with each other's content. There are plenty of people in Plus you can do that with. Ben can do this with Stefan and their own content. That's just something they can work together. So don't feel like because you're on your own, or you can't, maybe you're in a position where you can't hire somebody to work with you on it. Just find somebody in Plus, because everybody needs a wingman. Everybody needs that kind of help. Right?
That's a great point. Great point. And I think why don't we'll close with that, because now what I want everybody to go do is to find a wingman. Find somebody who can help you out here on Plus. And or just start talking to your teams and figure out how you guys can take advantage of all the really great things that both Alex and John talked about today, because I hope that you guys got a lot of really good information. I know I did. It was fascinating to listen to to the story behind SEOWise, because I know I know the two of you are behind it, but I typically see just your individual posts. And now we have a little bit more character, pulled back the curtain, and now I know the next time I see a South Park dog or Family Guy post coming from SEOWise, I know who wrote it. So
awesome.
And I want to so again, I just want to thank Ben, obviously, for agreeing to be a co-host every Wednesday, 12:30. I've sucked him into doing this with me, but I think he added a lot of value. I want to just everybody give him a big round of applause. And
it's my pleasure.
And I want to thank Alex and John from SEOWise for stopping in today to give us a little bit about how they're using Google Plus for their business. And go check them out on the event page. We have all of their URLs. Check us out in the Google Plus for Small Business community. We're all actually active there. And hopefully we will see you guys next week on this show. And if you're going to share this or talk about it in any fashion, try and use the hashtag #GPLUSSPOTLIGHT, because I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to own that one. All right, everybody. Until next week, I'm Stepan Hovnanian with Ben Fisher, and we will see you. We'll see you next week.
Happy Hump Day.
There we go.